right now, you want to go get your education from Harvard because that means something. But my goal is that getting it from Sky Society means just as much within marketing.
There was a time when there was a class with 2 people in it, and now you're approaching 100 people per cohort. Where do you go with this over the next few years?
So my goal is that our last class of the year has 200 students in it.
When was the closest you came to closing up shop?
Oh my God, a lot. Honestly, a lot. I always say I had every reason to quit, but I believed in it so much, and I knew that the girls who took it absolutely loved it. I just needed to convince people that this worked.
Welcome back to the Creator Spotlight Podcast. My name is Francis Zierer, and today we're speaking with Natalie Peters, founder of Sky Society, a community and career accelerator for women in marketing. She's been running the business for 5 years, and this is an excellent case study of a creator-driven, high-ticket education business, plus podcasts, newsletters, and LinkedIn. So classic Creator Spotlight stuff. I hope you enjoy. Tell me what the accelerator contains, right? Like obviously people, when we get to the accelerator, people are they're paying to get a job essentially, right? Like they hope that they will do this thing and it will help them get a job. On your website, you say there's a 96% hire rate for graduates, but what exactly is in the accelerator that leads to them landing a job?
Yeah, great question. So I'd say when we started the accelerator, it was really focused on getting hired. I know we officially launched in January, but the accelerator is built really mid-pandemic, a couple months prior before launch when the job market was the hardest. I'd say now girls definitely join to get a job, but it's also a large part in the confidence they get after it. So in the accelerator, it's experience-based learning. Everywhere else, if you want to learn marketing, you're usually learning through traditional education, through certifications that are teaching you things. In the accelerator, you are getting hands-on experience, actually building and launching real marketing campaigns. Our students become published blog writers. They work with influencers. They actually get real experience. And the second half of that is they learn how to market themselves. I'm a big believer that the most important brand you will ever market is your own brand. And so in the accelerator, they are also learning that. There's mentorship. So they get to also learn from women that work at some incredible brands that are really popular and big among Gen Z. And they build a portfolio, resume, all the application materials. So it's kind of those two pieces of getting real experience and also building your own brand.
The real experience, can you say more about that? Is this you're saying they're working with influencers? Are you placing them with apprenticeship, internship programs? What is that?
So we've tried this different ways, but now the way that they do it is they essentially do a rotational internship at Sky Society. And we've curated specific campaigns in the program based on experience we want our students to get. So for influencer marketing, we've changed the product a couple times, but it started with a career affirmation journal. 100% of proceeds from the journal go to charities that support women's mental health. So we created our own product that supported a really awesome cause. And girls would learn influencer marketing. We would onboard them to HubSpot. They'd actually get a login to HubSpot, so they wouldn't just be theoretically learning the tool. They actually would use the tool. They'd onboard influencers to the campaign. We keep the requirements vague. You don't need to have a big influencer. It could be anybody with 1,000 followers. Onboard them to the campaign, send them product, get them to post. For a blog, they get all published on the Sky Society blog. They get to choose a topic, anything that they want to write about. And so we've just created these different campaigns within Sky Society so that those girls can get experience in the program.
Mm-hmm. So you recently finished the 5th year of the business as we speak. Yeah. You're about 5 years, 4 months in. Can you tell me about the first year of the business compared to the 5th year of the business in terms of numbers, right? Was it just you in that first year? How many people went through the accelerator in the first year? How much did it grow by to the 5th year? What did the business look like in year 1 compared to year 5 in terms of any sort of numbers you can give us?
Dramatically different, I'd say my first year in business, every single student on the accelerator was cold outreach. So we started, my very first class had 6 students. Now in the accelerator in year 5, our classes are nearing 100 and growing. Every single time we have a new class, they're growing. So just to give you that comparison, my first year or 2 classes I had my smallest class actually had 2 students in it. Yeah. I always say I had every reason to quit. I had every reason for this not to work, but I believed in it so much. And I knew that the girls who took it absolutely loved it. I just needed to convince people that this worked and this was a new approach, but it actually really worked. So the first 2 years were really, really tough. I was just me as an employee for the first year. Then I had one employee the second year. I think the second and third year, I just had one employee. And then it was the fourth year where I started to build traction. And then now on year 5, we have 6 full-time, 1 part-time.
Oh, 6 full-time. Because when I first spoke to you about a month ago, it was, that was maybe even 3 weeks ago. You said it was 5 full-time. You've hired since. Congratulations. Yeah. Cool. So, you said the 4th year you really started to take off. What was happening then? Was it just that you'd been around long enough and the name had gotten out, that you'd made enough money running the business to then invest more in the business? What was happening in the 4th year that was an accelerant for Sky Society?
I think there's 2 parts of it. I think one part that I want to talk about that I just don't feel like it's talked about enough is, as a solo founder, the journey was really emotionally and just so difficult on me. And I had to learn so much that I think I also just grew as a founder. It's really hard when you're trying to sell something that nobody wants and you're just getting rejected all the time. And that really was like my world for the start of it. People did love it. Like, the people that took it loved it. But outside of that, it was really, really hard. And I wanted the accelerator to work. I wanted a higher rate, which I'm so proud of that we have now. And that took a lot of work to get there. So I'd say 1 is like, I became more resilient as a founder. And then 2, with something like this, you really need to build trust with people. And so I think having all of those years, and now we have so many amazing reviews out of the program. We have so many amazing testimonials. Our students have gotten hired at companies like Chanel, Billboard, like huge brands now. We have mentors that come from huge brands. Like, those were things that just took time and like little stepping stones. We have girls that join the accelerator that go to Ivy League universities and are still struggling to get jobs. But that didn't happen at the beginning. It happened through like us really building the brand. And then I know we wanted to talk about today, really building out content funnels and having a really good strategy. To this date, we've all grown organically. We were like dabbling in paid ads, but like our growth has all been organic, word of mouth through organic socials, which is something that took a long time to build. But now we have this incredible content engine that really produces for us.
You were saying how you've gotten good reviews. And I think that a lot of times when I speak to people who are developing education products, right, there's always this thing people have to fight where education products as a whole, as a category, can get a bad rap, right? There's people say like, oh, it's not worth it. You can just learn these things yourself, or the price is too high, whatever it is, right? As a category, education products can be difficult to build and to build trust. Over the last 5 years, you clearly have. When I was looking around, I saw much more positive comments on Reddit and such than the negative. It's hard to build that. It's impressive that you've built it. What makes Sky Society as an education product? What makes it work? What makes people leave positive reviews, right? Like, what have you had to get right that makes your reputation hold?
Community, 100%. The accelerator, for one, it's taught live. It was really important to me that we left that stigma of a pre-recorded course. And what that means, I also think with AI, you can get education instantly through ChatGPT and so many sources now, that I do think it's going to be really hard for a lot of the standard course creators to be really successful. And I'd say hands down, if you talk to any of our students, they're going to tell you that they made incredible friendships in the accelerator, that they really grew their network, that they felt close to the Sky Society team. Every single time we do a new class, we are always changing things and making sure that the girls really feel that community aspect. Even if we do have girls that do take it recorded, so not everybody can attend live class, so we record it. So if you can't attend live class, you can go to the recordings. But yeah, I'd say that's been the biggest part.
Was it always live, or did you do recordings early on?
It was always live.
And it's how many sessions? It's an 8-week.
Twice a week, 8 weeks. Yeah.
So 16 sessions. Okay.
Yeah.
You said usually about 100 people in a class, in a cohort.
We're getting close to that 100 number is where we're at this year. We're in the middle of an admission season right now, which is really exciting. And the other thing I'll also say that's important is that I don't teach it. So I think a lot of times when there's course creators, like, it's you and your brand and you're teaching it, it was also really important to me that the value of the program was beyond me. I did teach for the first 4 years. We just hired an instructor. She's amazing. But that was also really important to me in building the accelerator to be able to scale it, especially if you wanted to do it live. Like I can't teach all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you started this too. You were early career and you'd had a job, but you wanted to help other people going through what you were going through, which I've spoken to a few other people who've built communities in this way, where they were early career and they wanted to build a community to sort of help themselves get into the sort of career they wanted to get into. This comes out of that. When you were teaching it for the first 4 years, though, like how did you bridge that gap of, oh, I haven't done a bunch of this, but I can help you guys do this?
I always think I have no idea how I had the confidence to do it when I started. I had no like and for the first part of my career, I felt so much imposter syndrome. I was like, so many other people are so much more qualified to build this than I am. I started the accelerator when I was 22 years old. Like people were taking it that were older than me. I did graduate early. I did start my marketing career early. So I did have experience under my belt and I was doing partnerships. So yes, I had that foundation, but I also a part of me did know oh my gosh, I had a lot of imposter syndrome at the beginning, but I did things like started a podcast. Honestly, I feel like I don't really know how I had the confidence at the beginning, but somehow I did. And now 5 years in, I feel really confident and I know I'm definitely the person to do this, but I didn't feel that at the start.
Well, I think to me, for people I've spoken to who have these successful education products, one, I think they're always cohort based and they're always live. I think that to be any successful education product needs that, because kind of like you were saying, you can use AI or whatever. Anything you want to learn, you can go out and find the information and try to apply it yourself, but you're not going to apply it yourself, I think. Or, the royal you. People want to be around other people. They need that accountability. So it sounds like to me, probably early on, part of the value was just that you could convene people, that you were putting yourself out there to convene people in a space and get them speaking with each other and, supporting each other, right? Like that's sort of the seed of this, is you just making the room.
And also the guidance, because there's a lot of things that you might know that you need to do, but you haven't actually done yourself. And so part of the structure of the accelerator is making sure that you're getting those things done, like your LinkedIn profile, when was the last time you actually spent time updating it, and not just having ChatGPT write your bio for you. And going out and our portfolios are a huge reason why girls join our accelerator. Building a portfolio is really hard. Where do I start? What do I do? So I think a lot of it is also from that structure. We have a bunch of things, even aside from what we teach you, that we have you do as part of the accelerator to help you with your career long term. And so, and then as you're going through it too, we have a TA. She's amazing. She's checking in with you, making sure that you're getting all those things done. So by the time you graduate, you've done all the things that you've wanted to do for your career for a long time and things you didn't even know of. And so the number one thing students will tell us that they feel more confident in themselves after they graduate. And it's really that confidence piece that I think makes girls feel so happy once they finish the accelerator.
That makes sense. What have you tried that didn't work? Like any missteps or failures, ways you structured a cohort, anything over the last 5 years, like for a listener who might be working on an education product themselves and wants to know what not to do? What just didn't work?
I mean, so many things. And I actually even tell my team, if we're trying things and everything is working, we're not trying enough things. We are always trying new ideas to help with our graduation rate, to help with reviews, to help make sure girls are happier. So I'd say so many things. I would say early on in the accelerator, I'll say one thing, we talked about the LinkedIn group being our biggest top of funnel lead source for us. I actually started it on Facebook because everyone was saying Facebook groups is where you build community, and nobody wanted to join. No one was joining the Facebook group. I pretty much launched. When I say launched it, I launched it to my following of 0. I had 0 following when I started. So I'll also say if you want to build an education program and you have 0 following, I had 0 following when I started the accelerator. All of my first students came from cold outreach. Launched this to my 0 audience on Facebook, but I was promoting it on TikTok and such. And it wasn't until I moved it to LinkedIn that it actually took off. And one of my first hires, she's actually been with me for almost 4 years, came from one of the first 100 LinkedIn group members. And that's how I met her. But yeah, I initially launched that on Facebook and it didn't resonate at all with my audience.
Do you think that's because there are not as many like early 20s women on Facebook?
Maybe. I had seen other creators that I knew of do Facebook groups, and I thought that maybe that would work for me because it worked for them. And I think I did that a lot when I started, is I would look at other creators and what they were doing and I would try to mimic it. But I feel like the best breakthroughs I've had were when I trusted my gut and did things that not everybody else was doing. And I know there are a lot of LinkedIn groups now, but I would say if you went into our LinkedIn group, what is different is that the community is much more engaging. We have an event that we're doing on Wednesday. We have 1,000 of our LinkedIn group members signed up to attend that. And we usually have like a really good show, right? We'll get probably around 500 girls to actually attend, which was really exciting. And so I think that's really special about our community that we've built.
If you're a creator, you probably did not get into this to spend hours uploading files, writing tags, organizing assets, and digging through analytics. That's why OpenVideo built an MCP server just for creators. It lets an AI agent manage the operational side of your video business from a single prompt, uploading, tagging, organizing, and analyzing your entire channel for you. And unlike traditional platforms, it all happens on infrastructure you control. So let AI do the busy work while you do the important work of creating content your audience can't live without. See how you can do more with AI at open.video/MCP. That's open.video/MCP. I want to talk about you versus Sky Society in the content, in the socials too. So just for, a few main social channels, the Sky Society TikTok has 52,000, 11.3 thousand on Instagram, 28,000 on LinkedIn. You have your personal TikTok and LinkedIn. Each has actually about the same following number. It's 1.6 thousand. But then your LinkedIn is 51,000, right? So that's clearly an important channel for this business. The podcast, you are still the host of. And then the newsletter, you are like you're a little further removed there too. So long way of asking, less in like just your one-on-one relationships with the audience or like one-to-many relationships with the audience. In the content, what purpose does Natalie Peters versus Sky Society serve like in your overall content strategy?
That's a good question, because if you look at the brand, you'll see me. Like, I'm there. I am so lucky that I have an incredible team that's helping me with that. So it's not me, coming up with all the TikTok ideas and such now. Like, I have an incredible team. Same with LinkedIn. Like, what I post on LinkedIn is not me. Like, we post job boards every week transparently. I have Andrea from my team is amazing. She's the one that's like helping put those together. So yes, you do very much see me as the face. And a lot of that too, I think we do live in a world where you do connect a lot more with faces than you do with just the brand. So it has been this balancing act of I do want Sky Society to stand alone, but I also know that when we post things on LinkedIn is a great example, I can post very similar content, and we've tried it across 3. Because on LinkedIn, I can post in the group. Only people in the group are going to see it. I can post on my personal public, and then I can post as like Sky Society on the page. And we see very different reach, even if with similar content. And my personal public has always been the way to get the most reach, specifically for what our biggest piece of content is that got me to 50,000 followers. Is that what is on LinkedIn Connect?
Yes, followers.
Is our job board, where people will reshare that, 50, 100 times. And that's been like our one content piece. But if I posted it on Sky Society page, it's just not going to get that reach. So I'm still there, and that's why people see me. And I now get to use my presence strategically. I've also learned that using me too much makes the brand not feel as big. We've also tested having me more involved in other parts of the admissions, which is our sales process, and it doesn't perform as well, because when you see me at every touch point, then you're like, is it just this girl? Can I trust this company? So that is also one thing that I've learned. So usually me, Natalie, top of funnel, you're going to see me on the organic content. You're going to see me at the first step of the admissions process. So I'm still going to be there, but as you progress through in our community and you move further down, then you're going to see less of me.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. A couple things. One, that you waited so long to hire a social person, I think, is what made, I don't know, if you had hired somebody as a social person right off the bat, I don't know if this would be a creator spotlight story, honestly, right? What drew me to this as a creator spotlight story is it's you building this personal brand that enables you to bring people in and sell this this like high ticket education product, right? Like this is a creator story. Whereas if you had just hired somebody to do social at the beginning and they were running that and you were just running the operations side, it wouldn't really be a creator story. I don't know. This is just how I think about
That's
creator
a good
economy
point.
creators.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever thought about, and it's so funny because I don't think of myself as a creator. And
Yeah.
my team is always like, Natalie, like, you don't realize that like people are excited to see you, or like if we have an event, people want to take pictures with me sometimes. And like, I don't see myself as like, I very much identify with being a founder. But my team will always like remind me like, Natalie, like they'll be like, I think it's so funny that you don't see yourself in that way.
Well, and increasingly, it sounds like you are shifting more into that founder role, and the content is something that you're a little bit more distant to or distant from. The podcast, though, is a real through line where you've been this creator from the beginning. You've been doing it for 5 years, 206 episodes as of this morning. The 206th one was published. It's largely interviews with marketing people, kind of in a similar way to Creator Spotlight. They're not always like the biggest, craziest marketers. Sometimes they are, but it's oftentimes more of just your average mid-career marketing person. I'm really reducing it, but I think that tracks. Sometimes there are some behind the scenes of building the business. Sometimes it's more of just, you solo advice podcast, but it's still you. 206 episodes, 5 years. It's still you. Tell me about the podcast, why you started it and why you continue doing it.
Yeah. So started for a different reason than why we still do it today. I started it at the beginning for two reasons. One is because I wanted other female mentors in my life at the time. And even still now, my dad is like a huge role model for me. He's been super great advising me. And I had at the time also a male boss who was also really amazing. But I selfishly wanted other women in my life that I feel like I could look up to. And then the second was I was a 22-year-old girl starting this education program, and you had no reason to believe me or like what was my qualifying factor. I had, again, no audience, there was nothing inherently special about me. And so I learned this from the start as doing this podcast. I couldn't, maybe have on the CMO at Vogue, but I could have on the marketing coordinator at Vogue. And we started with like coordinator roles at bigger brands that would like draw you for attention because you really wanted to work an entry level at that company. And so that's how it started. And it gave me a lot of credibility at the beginning when I really had none. And then now, 5 years later, I'd say now that I've podcasted for a while, I'm sure you experience the same thing where it's just fun. You just get to be curious about somebody else and you get to learn and you get to meet new people. And I like personally just really love that. I think it's made me a better speaker. I think I've really enjoyed it. And then it's also been still for that same initial kind of purpose of giving the brand credibility. There's not another podcast out there that focuses specifically on marketing careers. Like normally a marketing podcast interviews the CMO and they give you marketing tips. They're not usually interviewing like the marketing director who tells you how they got that career role and gives you career advice. We just had on somebody really high up at Snapchat, and we got to work with the Snapchat team on that. So we've got to have on like some really big marketers as well, but I really focus on diversifying that experience level to tell a totally different story. And then it's also led to our Marketing Early Mentor program, which has been now one of the biggest selling points for the accelerator is this mentor program. I think it's super, super special. The women that are a part of it are the most amazing women that really just want to support other women. And it's just been such a fun thing to grow. The girls really love it. And I've got lots of big dreams and visions for what that program will grow into in the future.
Nice. Going back to admissions, you were talking about admissions a lot when you were listing the all the people who work at Sky Society. It sounds like that's a lot to deal with. I know that you have constantly a wait list, and even as you've increased, you're nearing 100 people per cohort, and I think you're doing 4 per year, right? How do you
5 per year. Yeah.
5 per year? Oh wow. Yeah. So how are you choosing, like, what is it? I mean, you don't have to go like so nuts and bolts of this, but if you're oversubscribed every time, how are you choosing the people who come in?
There's a lot of steps in our admissions process that go through it. And a lot too, like we can have thousands on the wait list, but just because we're not running a continuous cycle, because it is a live class, you'll lose people because they joined 2 months ago. And then by the time you have admissions, they're not interested or whatever. So people just genuinely will self-disqualified down the funnel. Also price. Obviously, the accelerator definitely is not cheap. I think it's a much better option and more affordable option than getting a master's degree. Like I think I genuinely compare it to that.
Yeah.
We have lots of girls, about 15% of our students have master's degrees, 15 or 20%, and they still need this accelerator. And that's really kind of the angle that we like to convey it at. So depending on how you want to look at price. But
no, I like that. Yeah. I think that's a good way to frame it. Well, okay. So, I mean, on the price too. So it's 7.4 thousand. I was looking around various Reddit threads in preparation for this. And I think I found like 3 or 4 where people were asking, is Sky Society worth it? And for the most part, the comments are saying, yes, I took it and I think I got my value out of it. There was 1 or 2 people who were, more negative, but again, like I haven't taken it, but the numbers hold out. 96% of graduates are hired. That's impressive. You're getting a bunch of people who are saying they really like it. And the way you just described it of like as replacing a grad school, obviously it's a very different thing. But if the purpose of both is to get a job and a career, it works there. Let's talk about the pricing though. I know that it used to be a percentage fee. They call it an income share agreement or ISA. That's an industry term. A lot of accelerators have these. One of the few negative comments I found on Reddit was about the ISA model, which you abandoned a little while ago. So I'm just curious how you've priced it and how that's changed over the years. Like I'm sure I would guess that when you started, you look up accelerators, okay, they do ISAs. This is a really good way to get people in who maybe can't afford it up front, but then it's aligned, like our incentives are aligned. We have to get you a job to get paid, right? But then maybe it seems like it was a backlash. I'm talking too much here. Can you tell me how you arrived at the current pricing model?
Yeah, so when I started the accelerator, like I said, I had no proof or reason for you to trust me. And so the ISA felt like a really mutual beneficial way where you can join this accelerator and you only pay if you get a job. Like, I think that's such an incredible way to also stay true to our mission. The unfortunate part of doing that is a lot of people will try to get out of paying you. And so that is a lesson I learned very quickly. And then you have
to like have a lawyer following people down, which to be clear too, I think the number I saw on Reddit was that it was 12% of their income for 18 months once landing a job.
Yes, I almost forgot that because that was so long ago. We did that only for like a year, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
And yes, aligned with the mission. So like the accelerator was built, I always say when I say our founding story that we were built during the pandemic, which was one of the hardest job markets in history. And it was genuinely built as a way to actually help you take the next step in your career. Now we have lots of girls that join that maybe aren't necessarily on the job hunt. Our core demographic has expanded, but that's really the core of our mission. And so that pricing model, I felt really aligned with it. And so that is why we ended up abandoning it, was because unfortunately people took advantage of it. But we switched to charging, and something that I really struggled with at the beginning was feeling like this cost was too expensive. Even for me at the beginning, I had imposter syndrome, like I mentioned. But now if you ask any student that's gone through it, it is totally worth it. And so much goes into what each student experiences in the accelerator. And like I mentioned before, people won't think twice about getting a $50,000 loan to go get a master's degree. And at the end of the day, you just have more education. And the accelerator is genuinely something that's going to make a difference for you on your job search. And it's a fraction of the price. You like all of the mentorship that you get access to, the actual experience, the resumes, the portfolios, like the entire community. It's 8 weeks, but we have like an entire post-grad plan that you get out of it. Like there's so much that's there that it's worth so much more than what we charge. Like I genuinely believe that. And so I feel like so proud and all that value. And if you ask girls too, like we understand like the worth it question, like that's totally valid. And you can ask like our graduates, and I think they'd have great answers for you.
How did you price it? Like, have you raised the price, or has it been the 7.4 ever since you switched away from the ISA?
We have not raised prices yet, but it's definitely something that we've considered, especially since there's like definitely a lot of stuff that we want to keep adding to it. But it's changed like variably. Like we used to charge a little bit more, and then we really settled on this as like a really good price that felt like it matched, but we've definitely, I mean, like maybe up 1,000, like I think we like 8,400. Now we have different pricing though, if you pay it like upfront or if you choose to like, we have like monthly payment plans. Most students will just pay the tuition upfront. But we've definitely had a lot of learnings around pricing, and we've definitely like adjust our terminology, our language and everything there. To make sure that you really understand the value, because to convey everything you get for that can be really difficult in a sales process or really difficult on a website. Even you asked me what's in it, right? So it's something that we're still really working on, because nothing like it exists. So part of our marketing isn't just selling you on it. It's like showing you something that has never existed before that's totally new. So there's also a challenge in that.
Yeah. Back to the outcomes. So the number on the website is 96% of graduates are hired by how long, roughly? Like, is that like a 3-month window, 6-month window? How long does it usually take people to get hired after they graduate?
Yeah. So there's multiple, we have multiple different stats out there. That's one of them. But the general stat that we do, so our most like up to date, that's with a 1-year mark. So we surveyed all of our graduates in 2024 and we asked them if they've gotten a job or not. And of those that were looking for a job, because like I said, not everybody's looking for a job. We had a 94% hire rate for girls just generally that were looking for a job. And then we have a job search path. So if you complete the accelerator, if you apply to, I forget the exact number, but it's if you apply to jobs basically every single week. And if you check in with us once a month. So once a month, we ask you how you're doing. It's like very low barrier. It's like those 3 things. We had 100% higher rate out of the accelerator for girls who were doing that. And our biggest thing is that if you put the work in, like the accelerator genuinely gives you the tools that you need to be successful. But just not everybody maybe, is continuing to apply for jobs and such, but it's a 1-year end on that.
If you're building your whole video business on platforms like YouTube, here's the uncomfortable truth. They own the audience relationship, not you. That's where Open Video comes in. It lets you host your videos on your own domain under your own brand, so you control the channel, the data, and the direct connection to your viewers. And now, with the new Open Video MCP server, you could do even more without taking your focus off of your content. With their MCP server, an AI agent can upload, tag, organize, and even analyze your entire video library from a single prompt. Your video stays yours, the busy work gets automated, and you can focus on creating. Check out Open Video for all the details. That's open.video. What's the hardest part about scaling the size of the accelerator? Like if your goal is to, I'd imagine that, as you're saying you're approaching 100, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth here, but maybe the goal is by the end of the year, you've run 2 accelerators that have 100 people in them, right? Or 2 cohorts.
I've got a bigger goal than that.
Can you, are you willing to share?
I mean, my goal, actually, I'll say it on this podcast, so you can come back to me at the end of the year and ask me, but my goal is that our last class of the year has 200 students in it.
Wow. So what's the hardest part about getting the business up there? Like, what are the expenses that it's like, okay, well, we have to bring in XYZ many new teachers, whatever. What, like, in really practical terms, is the hardest part of, because you have the demand, you have the wait list. What's the hardest part about preparing the business to do 200-person cohorts?
I would say making the right hires. And that's really been my focus this year. Like we've made a hire like a month at this point for the last like 4 or 5 months. And bringing in people to support with that, I would say is like probably, that's our biggest expense. That's our main thing, is bringing on people. And so when I think about getting us to a class size that large, that's really one thing. And the more people you have, the more things that you used to do no longer work the way that you used to do them. So every class that we've done is growing. So every size is growing. So every single time I meet with the team, we talk about what things didn't quite fit this time. Now that we had more girls, what are we changing? And we're constantly doing that. And we're doing it every season because I've got a big vision for our last cohort of the year. And it's just some things you don't know until you get there and you're like, okay, wait, this is now broken and we need to fix it, because if we're going to have this capacity, we can't keep doing it the way like we've used to do it before.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like you're doing really well. You're on a very productive path. I would guess that you probably broke around $1 million in revenue last year. You're obviously on track to do more than that this year. All of this to say you're doing well. When was the closest you came to closing up shop?
Oh my God, a lot. Honestly, a lot. And I know every founder journey is different, but I feel so like passionate in sharing that because I feel like I've seen other founders that are just successful from the start and you're like, oh my gosh, it must be so easy for them. And my journey was not like that. It was so hard at the beginning. And even now, like it is, even now, like we definitely, it's much more, you know, it's, I don't want to say easier, but it's different when you've built those like funnels and you have that momentum, but it's still really, really hard. And especially at the beginning, you know, even with the podcast, there were like at the beginning, like, you know, no one listened to the podcast. Like, why would I keep doing it? Or nobody wanted to join the group. Why would I keep doing it? No one was watching the TikTok videos. And I wanted to quit all the time when I had a class of 2. Like, why would I keep doing it? Like, why? Like, why would I keep doing it? And so I would say a lot. And I would say that I had, like, life gave me every reason to quit. And I didn't. And I'm so thankful for that.
Back to the content. So the newsletter, I don't think you've been doing it as long as the podcast. The podcast has been there almost since the beginning. You said you have around 50,000 people on the newsletter. Tell me about the newsletter, when you started it, what's the strategy behind it? How's it doing?
Yeah. So I'll give you like our overall content strategy. So our overall content is we create organic content. So you might see us on Instagram, TikTok, and our main driver is usually to get people to join the LinkedIn group because they kind of become part of our own community. But our second biggest driver is to go to one of our job boards. So we've curated these job boards that really speak to our audience. The job board is gated. That gate, you immediately get subscribed to the newsletter. And the job board has been how we've grown the newsletter so large. And the job board will generally go viral on LinkedIn. Jobs do really well there. Or it'll go viral on TikTok as well. And then lately we've been like really having a lot of fun with Instagram and been like also pushing it there as well too. So they get subscribed there. And then the newsletter, we're really intentional about it. We have an open rate in the 60th.
Very good.
We only send you an email once a week. And our goal is that it's stuff that you actually find helpful. It's not promotional. The only time it's promotional is when it's admission season and we're telling you to apply to the accelerator. But outside of that, we keep it to our community. Our community is what I call marketing girlies. So it's very niche and specific. So I think that really allows us to create something that speaks really loudly to the people that it's for. And so, yeah, the newsletter has the weekly podcast episode. It has like general marketing news and updates. We have advice from our marketing girly mentors. We feature our mentors in the newsletter. It has sometimes we'll put like different resources in there. Our events will promote in there. Different things like that, but it's not long. It's really easy to skim. I personally don't read newsletters. So our newsletter is really meant for you to skim. Oh, there's jobs. That's like our biggest one. You get jobs in the newsletter. So kind of all of our heavy hitters, and it's once a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, when it is admission season, where are people mostly coming from? Because I know you push people to the LinkedIn group, and that's sort of the nexus. But now that you have the newsletter, and it's quite large too, are people mostly coming? Are people who are submitting themselves for admission, are they mostly coming from the LinkedIn group or the newsletter or somewhere else?
So at the top of all of our job boards, so I mentioned our job boards, there's a banner ad for the accelerator. So we have about a 23% conversion rate for you seeing the job board and clicking our like banner ad that we have for our own product. So that is how a lot of people will find it. And then the other thing that we've really focused on this year is portfolios is like the outcome that girls get in the accelerator. And so that has been something that people will see what our students are creating and doing. And they'll ask like, if those will go viral, then they'll ask like, how did they build this? And then that's how they'll find out about the accelerator. But a huge, like big part of that is the job board.
Mm-hmm. What is like a day or let's say a week in your work life now? And how is that different from like when it was right before you hired your first employee, which I guess that was the second year, right? What's a week in your life now compared to then?
Then I was working a lot in the business. So I was teaching, responding to students, focusing on like messaging outbound. Now a week in the life is like pretty much Mondays dedicated to my team, getting everybody started for the week on what they're going to do, getting them unstuck, helping them. Like Monday is really all about them. Tuesday today is like a remote day for us. So today is a day where I'm focusing on things that I need to do.
Coming on podcast, etc.
Today I had like some pages that needed to be updated. It's admission season, so I'm like checking all the stats and the metrics and like seeing how we're converting at each stage of the funnel. And then Wednesday through Friday, we're back in office. And usually it's like meeting with the team on like other initiatives that we have. So now it's really fun. It's really strategic. And so it's really like coming up with new ideas and then also implementing them. Like we have so many new initiatives at Sky Society that we're doing. That's really fun. So I really love the work now. It's really fun. It's really creative. They're definitely, if you're a founder, like most of my day is also dealing with problems. So there's a problem. I'm the one that's solving
Putting out
lots of fires. So I think getting that perspective of like, there's just always going to be problems. And I think now, like I mentioned, I don't take it as personally as before, where before anytime anything went wrong, just big roller coaster. Now it's like, okay, it's just part of it. Like problems are just going to happen. But I would say that's even become more of a problem, not a problem, but more of my role now, because it's not just my problems in my job, but it's also the problems that my team is facing in theirs.
Yeah. So I always hate 5 years from now, where do you see yourself question? So I don't want to ask that. You've been doing this for 5 years, but the big goal this year is 200-person cohorts. That obviously, simple napkin math, that obviously means the business is doing really well. Where do you go with this over the next few years? Like, you don't have to tell me 5 years from now, where is it? Where are you? But what direction is the business going? Is it like more education products in this like women's career accelerator world? Is it some kind of like physical spaces? Where do you see yourself taking? What do you see yourself building on the platform that you have now established?
I think this is a tough one because now I think once you've gone to my size, there's a million directions you can go and people are asking you for a million things and you have to listen to your community, but you also have to know what your mission is as a brand. And our core of what's made us so successful is really focusing on a very niche problem and having a very specific solution to that, right? So you're a marketer who feels like you don't have enough experience, you're feeling overlooked in the job search. Like she's who we're helping, and it's been very specific. And so I have thought about lots of ways I could take it, where I could focus on helping girls later in their career. I could go earlier. I could have there's lots of things, but my biggest vision for Sky Society is that it's a brand that every single marketer knows and loves. And that if you are in marketing, you are studying marketing at any university, you know about this accelerator and it's a dream of yours to take it. That companies, it's already starting to happen, which is so cool, but that companies specifically want to hire our graduates to get in on the other side too, on the recruiting side. So not just like helping girls get jobs, but helping companies find incredible talent. So yeah, the companies know about Sky Society. Like we are the brand that right now, you want to go get your education from Harvard because that means something. But my goal is that getting it from Sky Society means just as much within marketing. And so, yeah. Really,
Y Combinator for women in marketing. So.
Exactly. Everyone knows what it is. And if you have it on your resume, it means something. That's really what my biggest dreams and vision would be for Sky Society.
Well, we will end it right there. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, of course. And a listener, we will see you next week.
Hi there, my name's Tom. I'm the producer of the Creator Spotlight podcast. I've just made a playlist on our YouTube channel of our top 10 episodes. So whether you're new here or you've been watching and listening for a little while, check out that playlist to make sure you've seen and heard our top 10 most popular episodes. I'll keep the playlist updated as the top 10 changes. If you're on YouTube, just click on that box over there. That's our top 10.